to help the DAC with the flooding issues led to an unbelievable day dedicating their new home. But before I continue, there is a person, and I don't know if he's here or not, but there's a person that without his determination, the meeting at the chamber, that impromptu meeting would have never happened. Mike Angelucci was the first person to call me, and he was the first person on the scene. And he said, listen, we have to get the ball rolling. You need to get some people in the room. And he was so adamant about putting the right people together that could work well together and they could accomplish something great. So I would like to give a huge thank you to Mike Angelucci. Something that you truly believe in, and especially something great in your community. Part of the Chamber's initiative is to help improve the quality of life in Marion County, and I think the quality of life was improved for all of the clients that this center serves. So congratulations to you, and we wish you many, many, many years of success in this building. There are a lot of people to thank, and that's coming. But I have to thank the community leaders who actually answered that impromptu call, that meeting that we held at the chamber several months ago, just to see if anything could be worked out. The city of Fairmont was first on the scene, along with the county commissioners, and they've been a huge asset in making this happen. Our delegates were there, our senators were there, and county commissioner was there, and I think they came without question. There was not one person that we asked to come that didn't show up and sat around that table and thought, okay, we've got to make something happen. So the thank you list is long. Two of them, I think, are going to say a few words. Is Senator Beach here? I didn't see him. Okay, so with that, I would like to invite Senator Mike Caputo up, who worked together with Senator Beach and our delegates, and they secured a tremendous amount of funding to make this place happen. So with that, I'd like to introduce Senator Mike Caputo.
Thank you, Tina. I appreciate that, but all this became possible as what Tina said, an impromptu meeting that she just brought us all together, and she was not letting us leave that room until we found a way to fix that problem. But, you know, I would say, first of all, Julie Soul, I call her my soul sister, she gives credit to everyone in the room for everything that happened. But, you know, nothing can happen if you don't have a good leader. You got to have a good leader. That leaders like Julie Soul don't grow in bunches like grapes. They're more rare like pearls. And Marion County has a pearl in Julie Soul, and it is so easy to get behind her leadership. The energy that she creates is just phenomenal. So give her a big, big round of applause. And Bob Beach and myself, and we were texting in that meeting trying to figure out how we're going to get the money to start. Now, Delegate Flesher has helped us from Montague County as well, how we're going to get the money started. And at that point in time, Senator Beach and I thought we had about $90,000 worth of discretionary money total. And he texted me and said, let's give it all to him. I said, yeah, let's do it. Well, when we found out when we got to Charleston, we had a little bit more than that. So Senator Beach, I'm sorry he's not here, but he was a great friend to the center. He lives in Montague County, but he cares about the people that this center serves. He cares about its mission. And between him and I, we secured $200,000 worth of seed. was 6,000. That's all the money they had allocated to use through the entire county. I want you to think about that. Nobody played politics with this money. They gave the entire amount of money they had allocated to the Disability Action Center. In that room that day, there was no Democrats, there was no Republicans, there was no politics. It was one of the greatest days, and I've been doing this a long time. 26 years I've been in the legislature. But that day, there was one mission, there was one cause, there was one quest, and it was the Disability Action Center. And we got it done. We got it started. That's where it started. But then we got money from the county. We got private donors. Nick Fantasia, where are you at? This couldn't be possible without Nick Fantasia. Who pointed us in this direction. It was, you know how they say it takes a village? It truly was a village that day. And it just, I mean, it started when I showed up at that flood that day, when Mike and Lucy called me and Julie called me, and I went in and, you know, I'm thinking she's going to be all depressed. You know, she's sweeping water out the door, she's shoveling mud. She wasn't depressed. She said, we're going to find a new place. We're going to get out of here, and we're going to be bigger and better than we ever were. And her attitude never changed from that day on. How do you not help put a project together like this? I've never seen a more community-supported project in my entire career than this Disability Action Center. But you know what? It's about their clients. It's about who comes in here every day. It's about what they learn here so they can be more independent and they can learn skills and get out into the world and be productive citizens like everybody wants them to be. That's what the center is all about. That's its mission. We have a beautiful home now. The mission goes on. I am just so excited about this. I'm glad I was a part of it, and may God bless the Disability Action Center. Thank you.
Well, I think for the first time ever, I'm going to speak longer than both Mike Caputo and Pastor Larry. So bear with me, as I cannot be brief, in order to truly thank everyone and to really recognize all of those that made this possible. So at this time, I would like to thank our major grantors, donors, and the funding organizations that made this beautiful facility possible. Like Mike said, first and foremost, we want to thank Nick and Beth Fantasia for their generosity in making the purchase of this building possible. We knew from very early on in our building search that this location felt like home, and we felt like it could be the best fit for us, but we didn't know how we could afford it. We didn't know how we could make that happen. But thankfully, the Fantasia family worked with us to sell the property well below appraised value and in a price range that we could afford and we could then fundraise for. So that, I think, was a very important piece, being able to say that this was realistic and garner additional funding for the project. I think that our supporters, and I'll speak for Mike, then said, okay, we believe in this building. This is a safe, accessible, beautiful facility, and we want to get involved, and this is worth it. So thank you, Nick and Beth. After deciding on a location, we had to come up with funding. And for an organization like ours, it was a real big thing, you know, for us not to go in debt, right? If I'm the director of this center, I want to make sure that I don't do harm to our organization or put us in a situation that we can't handle. But we talked to some folks very early on, around June 17th. And after that, we were able to put together a community participation loan with First Exchange Bank, and Brent Skidmore is with us here, and with Freedom Bank, Dave Shaw, Tina's other half. And really, they made the process less overwhelming for me and for our organization. And Dave said to me over and over again, you know, you've got this, I've got you, we will make it happen. And with that, he reassured me that we would be able to raise the funds, and we made it happen. So thank you to First Exchange followed by the Fantasias and the bank's commitment. You've heard about Senator Bob Beach and Mike Caputo and their overwhelming commitment of $200,000 for this project. And again, I think now the project was picking up some steam. It seemed really plausible, and that was the catalyst that we needed to get funds rolling. But that wasn't the first time Bob and Mike had been involved with our organization. Mike was there on April 30th of 2009 when we dedicated 102 Benoni Avenue. And he and Bob had been at numerous functions, whether it be Special Olympics, our family nights, and our fundraisers, for many years. So this was not the first time they had stepped up to help us. But this huge investment, I think, speaks volumes to who they are as senators. And again, like Mike said, their investment in Marion County. And I don't want to speak for them, but I think they had the attitude, you know, this is, let somebody challenge that this is not worthy, that this is not the best thing that we can do with those funds. And again, that worthiness, that investment, it kind of carried over into the rest of the funding. So thank you, Mike, and Bob. And we can't hold the applause to the ends. I have lots of people to thank. So if you don't mind, I'll just keep moving. We can thank everyone. Followed by our senators were Delegates Guy Ward, Phil Mello, and Joey, and they are here with us today. Is Guy here? I didn't see Guy. Okay. And like our senator said, they contributed all of their discretionary funds to this project. They were some of the first people to call, text, respond, come and visit the center in person. And again, like Mike, who must have been reading this up here, there was no politics in this decision making. There was no Republican, no Democrat. They all pulled together to do the right things. Were you reading my notes during this? I can tell you, but everybody came together.
If you're not the first person.
I'm telling you. So thank you to our House of Delegates. Then I have to move on and thank sincerely the Mannington Postcard Foundation. Lori Maynard is operations manager, and Cal Pratt is president of the Postcard Foundation, and they're with us here today. Lori is someone I spoke to very early on, and she really wanted to learn and dig in and know our immediate needs. What did we need? How can they make the most difference in our organization? So I told Lori, we need to move in. There's this checklist that we need. We need restrooms. We need to expand instructional space. You know, this is a great facility, but we had some things to do in order to be able to move in. So with that generous, very generous funding from the Postcard Foundation, we were able to meet what we call phase 1 and phase 2 renovations, which is the renovations that you see to this kitchen and recreation area, as well to the program level that houses our classrooms and our administrative offices. So without them, without the Postcard funding, there is no way that we could have moved in here on January 10th and been able to have a seamless transition. So thank you all very much. Again, our commissioners stepped in and were very involved from early on and made a substantial investment so that we could complete renovations and make the move to this facility. I know Belinda was there at the very first meeting on June 17th, and then many conversations followed with our commissioners. Did our commissioners, anybody in the back? Okay. But Belinda is here, and she represents the county, and she's always been here for us, so thank you, Belinda. Our commissioners have supported us, again, like our senators have been to Special Olympics activities, and they know what this center means to our entire county. So we're very thankful for them. Next, I have Life United Methodist Church and the United Methodist Foundation. Pastor Larry, who you met, it was really his forethought. It was his idea to submit a grant to the United Methodist Foundation on behalf of the DAC. The DAC and Life Church, we've been partners for about 10 years, doing a Bible study, but we go far beyond being spiritual partners. I think we really fashion ourselves to be community partners with a life vision of acceptance, inclusion, and empowerment. So thank you, Larry. Next is the Novelist Corporation. Actually, Brenneman couldn't be here today, but thankfully our board member Josh Rice is going to pull double duty and represent Novelist as well. Like a lot of people that we talked about, Novelist had been involved with our organization before through our full STEM Ahead grants that we received from them. They're also an amazing corporate partner with the Norwood Park project in the city. So working with them on that project even further demonstrates their commitment to community and to the disability community. So funding from Novelist for this project went towards making our STEM lab upstairs high-tech and higher ground, and they've been able to help us with that, so thank you. Next is the Mylan Foundation, and did Chris Matt like to make it, Chris? But Chris is again somebody who Nick, I think, and I met with very, very early on, and she came and she saw our vision for not only this level and the next level of the facility, but also what we hoped, probably the first person I think that we talked to about the next steps, right? So if this was done, then what else was next? And then, so funding from the Mylan Foundation will go towards creating the outdoor classroom area that you can see here. That will be in the rear of the building. We have a fire escape there now, but what we hope to do is expand that into a larger deck area, both on the top and the bottom, where we can have a book club or a Bible study or a creative arts class outdoors. So we hope that funding will help with that. Next is our City of Fairmont, and lots of folks from the city here today, thank you. I must say that Mayor Tom Mandela, Tom was definitely, like Tina said, one of the first people on the scenes. He did not beat Angelucci there. By the way, did you miss all the nice stuff Tina said about you? Because we have it recorded now. We have it. You're okay. I needed to take a break. So Tom was just shortly behind Angelucci, but I think Angelucci and I were texting Tom at the same time. And I think Tom will tell you, he felt very compelled at the beginning, and he even say things like he felt responsible, and we know there is no truth to that. We know that you did the right thing, and everybody did the right thing. So after Tom, we had our city manager, Valerie Means, and our stormwater sewer director, Dave Sego's willingness, their overwhelming willingness to be part of the solution. A remedy and a resolve was formulated rather quickly. And I will tell you that the city's willingness to help the DAC through purchasing our old facility was the piece of the puzzle that we needed in order to make this move, and to make this move without debt, and to make this move without the burden of holding on to that old location would have meant to a small nonprofit like us. So thank you to everyone at the City of Fairmont for doing this for us. Thank you. Next is Your Community Foundation, Patty Ryan. Patty is the president of YCF, and she's here with us today. And she's someone I reached out to very early on as well. I can remember exactly where I was talking to her. I was in the middle of the road. I was in my muckers. We were in cleanup. And she just said, Julie, take a deep breath. And she really helped me formalize a plan for fundraising and facilitated several opportunities for support thereafter. Patty and YCF, like others that we've spoke about, have long known the impact that the DAC makes on our community, and she was a really integral part in just kind of keeping me focused and sometimes just telling me that I was doing a good job. So YCF is a lot more than scholarships and endowments, and we are fortunate to be community partners and receive the support and direction that YCF and their team can provide. The United Way, the Tiger Valley United Way. My good friend Brett here is another person who I leaned on quite heavily. I leaned on him a lot, and probably more so in 2021. But it's safe to say that I didn't write many program grants over the last year, and that's where I typically spend a great deal of my time. As you can imagine, my 2021 grants were focused on the purchase of this building and capital improvements. So fortunately, the DAC being a funded partner with the Tiger Valley United Way, we had very consistent monthly allocation and funding that focused solely on our programs so that we could focus on this move. So like YCF, much of the support and resources that we receive from the United Way is not monetary in nature. Rather, the collective force that comes from being a part of the United Way and the Lapotis. So thank you, Brett. Oh, the chamber. I should have put you before Brett. I'm sorry. This causes problems every time. Every time I should have put you before Brett. And moving on to the chamber. Sorry, Brett. Really, what can we say that already hasn't been said about Tina's role in all of this? But I am sure that emergency management and disaster response is really not a part of her job description, but Jonathan, we can maybe tweak that and add that to it. But without Tina immediately calling for a stakeholders meeting on June 17th, I am sure that none of this would happen, or it wouldn't have happened as quickly as it did. That not only speaks to Tina's devotion to the community, but also Jonathan Board's leadership and our chamber's outside of the box thinking that really sets them apart from other chambers around the state and even around the country. Because I'm sure that not all chambers can boast nonprofit advocacy, but you can. And Tina advocates for all of us, big, small, individual, large group. Tina is a champion for all of us, and we are very lucky to have her as a supporter, and we're very fortunate to call her friend. Thank you, Tina. The Francis and Coletta Schmidt Family Fund. Jerry Schmidt could not be here today, but we do have Chris Schmidt, who is here with us today, Jerry's sister, and the daughter of the named family fund, Francis and Coletta Schmidt. So as this project was starting to take shape, so did many relationships and partnerships. And I have to tell you that working with Jerry and getting to know him and his family was one of those remarkable connections. Jerry, as you know, is the CEO of Valley Healthcare. And we like to blame a lot of what happened after that on Nick, because Valley, as you know, was housed here when we decided to purchase the property, right? So we blame all that on Nick.
Yeah, I found him someplace to go.
You did. So from the very beginning, when Nick and I sat down with Jerry, he was very positive about our purchasing of the building, which in turn meant that he had to facilitate a move of his entire agency, counselors and whatnot, which is no small feat. A lot of hoops to jump through, a lot of regulations with the state. But he did that, and he did it in a really timely fashion. So then if that wasn't enough, right, like if he wasn't great enough to work with, then he turns around with his family, Chris, and the rest of the family, and they decide to give a grant through the Francis and Coletta Schmidt Fund to honor his parents and support worthy organizations in Marion County. And they chose us last year, and they said it was a no-brainer for them to support us. So thank you, Chris, and your entire family. Next is the Laposta Vanquitas Foundation. Y'all may have never heard of this foundation before. This is a longtime family friend and supporter of mine, Jerry Vanquitas, and her husband Tommy in Weirton. Jerry is someone who I grew up going to the First United Methodist Church with, and has kind of followed my path and my career and always taken an interest. You're great, Jerry.
Absolutely.
Valerie knows the Weirton connection, wonderful people. So she cared enough about me and enough about this center that she gave us not only one, but 2 grants from the Laposta Vanquitas Foundation. Jerry couldn't be here today, but it's a wonderful connection that we have. Next is Fairmont Further Credit Union. Didn't see Cindy. Cindy's here. Cindy and her team have been long supporters of the DAC. They've supported our camp and our programs. So it really wasn't a surprise when they stepped up with their signature donation that honors the year that the credit union was formed. So we want to thank the credit union. Jennifer Fields Moore. Is Jennifer here with Home Depot? Home Depot was wonderful to work with. They provided us a grant through the Home Depot Foundation that allowed us to get our ranges and our hoods above that. So we're very thankful. And then lastly on the organization is the Mannington Women's Club. And Laura Michael and Linda Blankenship, they have many connections to our clients and centers. So their group also gave a very substantial donation. It would be impossible for me to name every individual and family that gave, and they collectively raised over $48,000 for our move to higher ground. So thank you to all of our individuals that gave and all the families that gave as well. There's not a person in this room, as I look around, that has not given of their time, talents, and treasures. So if we can give them all a round of applause. A few more pages, I promise. I want to move on to design and construction, because hi Jay, the rest of the team's over here, my other people over here. It started with Jay, who reached out to Tina, and he volunteered to help with the search and kind of research into different locations that were being proposed, right? We were getting a lot of different ideas about what could be our new home, and Jay, fortunately, was able to give us some advice on those. And then that turned into completely Sarah Bush and Dave Snyder's overwhelming commitment to this project. Once we landed on a site, Sarah and Dave, I can't tell you, just the tireless work that they have put in for us. And I'm so humbled, and I would say all the time, and I still say, I've never had plans, right? Look at these plans. I've never had plans. Anything that we ever did, we always did on a napkin, and I would tell Dave and Sarah throughout this process, it's starting to look like the plans. It's starting to look like the plans. And then, when we actually moved in, I said, Sarah, it looks exactly like the plans. And I was just so overwhelmed that somebody would do that for us, right? We could never have been able to have the vision or the imagination or the construction plans, not only for this, but what our future holds. And I can tell you without a doubt that Sarah Bush and David Snyder are even better people than they are architects. And none of this could have happened without them. So thank you. Next, I want to recognize Tri-City Electrical. Ron Nichols, I won't call you up. This gets to, these guys don't want me to call them up, this group. But Ron, where's Mark Myers? I'm going to call him out. I'm on video. I'm going to call him out. So Ron Nichols and Mark Myers, they had worked at our old center and always responded, always made us a priority in a very busy world. So really, we knew from the very beginning that we wanted them to be the lead on this project. They had to put up with a lot. I know Ron likes to call me a quasi-project manager. Mark has other names for me, but they had to put up with a lot, and we are just very, very thankful for them taking the lead on this. I want to say hi, Beth. Thank you for being there. Next, we have Rocket Builders. We have Greg Downey and his wife, Sarah. Again, where's Tyler and Kenny? They're working, okay. Now, I probably spent the most time with Greg and his crew, and we have truly become like family. They also had to put up a lot with me, and I asked a lot of them, and they never said no, or they never said it couldn't be done. They went above and beyond. We had a lot of fun. We grew to really become close throughout this entire project, and I think more than anything, I don't want to speak for Greg and Sarah, but I think they really felt invested. They understood the importance of this project. They understand the importance of the future projects. And all they wanted to see, and I think that they've accomplished that, is that our clients and families be happy in this space. So thank you all. I can't leave out my painters, Carrie DeWitt and Sam Gerard. These guys went above and beyond, and they took it all in stride, really, because what started out is just painting the interior of this facility, right? The program level, which, by the way, they did a fabulous job with the paint, right? Yep. We added a lot of stuff, right? A lot of stuff to their list, including we even took down, these are the old letters from the old, these are the letters from the old building. And we took those down and they painted those and they incorporated that into this space. So I want to say thank you all. I really appreciate it. Almost done, I promise. So that really concludes the contribution to what we call phase 1 and phase 2, which is this level and the program level. And I will tell you that, can you see your program, Kim? There is an exact sign. This is a replica of the sign that will forever hang in our foyer that honors those major organizations, our design and construction. So that if you get a chance to go up to the main area and check that out. I want to share with you some future plans and visions. As you can see behind me, we haven't slowed down, and we're not going to. And we have a dream and a goal to make this center and the surrounding areas a true all-inclusive community for people with disabilities. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about how that might happen. Kevin and Donna Wilfong. Did Kevin make it back? Not yet. Okay. So Kevin couldn't be here today, but Kevin and I, we would talk every once in a while at chamber events, and he would share with me his family's involvement, or his mom's involvement with the old ARC, or the Association of Retarded Citizens. And we would just talk about it here and there, and Kevin was always a supporter, his businesses were, of our golf tournament and our fundraisers through Middletown Homes and Middletown Properties. But it wasn't until the funding that I really realized the impact that his family did make and then would continue to make on our organization. So we met shortly after the flooding, and he told me that he and Donna not only wanted to help, but they wanted to honor Kevin's brother Johnny Wayne and his parents by doing so. So we started to take a closer look at that history, and we found some old scrapbooks from the 1950s and 60s that told a story that was really overwhelming to me about his parents' dedication to their brother Johnny Wayne, who was born with a developmental disability. So we found these old scrapbooks. We found our original article of incorporations from 1958, where his dad, Maisel Wilfong, was listed as our incorporator. And at that time, his mom, Mildred Wilfong, was the director of what was called the Marion Association of Retarded Children. Mildred would serve at that capacity for 8 years. Again, all as a parent who stepped up to improve the services for people with disabilities because of her son, Johnny Wayne. Now, John Wayne passed away at an early age, as did their other brother, Stephen, pass away at a young age. So Kevin and I would talk about this, how we could best honor his family. But not only did Kevin and Donna commit to financial support for the center, for this place and for our future, but Kevin really became an invaluable asset to me during the construction and renovation of this site. His years of experience in the construction world, along with his honest, straightforward opinions, were really important to me. So I'm very, very thankful to Kevin for that. But I do need to share with you that it is because of the Wilfong family's transformative gift that we have our first investment in the DAC Wilfong Wellness Center, which is right here, and that will house our basketball court and fitness area and space for recreation. The proposed site for the DAC Wilfong Wellness Center is directly across the street at 444 and 446 Leonard Avenue, and we are in the process of making this happen. We have put together this master plan. Pickering has put together a master plan, and Omni, you can see the elevator, the outdoor classroom, and this will be the Wilfong Wellness Center. So Kevin's not here, but he deserves a very big round. Tom and Christy don't like the limelight, but let me tell you what, can I say that? I mean, true supporters. These are folks that I met with early on as well, who believe in our vision. They came in at a time where, you know, we were pretty solid with our site here, and they said, again, what's next? How can we be a part of your future? So 100 Resources is committed to the gym portion of the Wilfong Wellness Center, and we believe they're going to be here, hopefully, as our partners for many, many years to come. Also, the Dominion Foundation, Christine Mitchell. Hi, Christine. Hi. Perfect timing, right? The Dominion Foundation is poised to help us with what we call Phase 3 and Phase 4 of our renovations that include the gym, the wellness center, and some of the outdoor recreation sites that we have planned around us. So, moving forward, as I said, we have a beautiful master plan that was created by Pickering. Omni has put together the plans that you see for Phase 3 and Phase 4. We realize, as you probably all have realized, that we need an elevator, right? We're working on it. It's going to be a big project. The plans, I mean, if an elevator can be beautiful, this is beautiful. This is a beautiful elevator. Outdoor classroom, elevator, expanded parking. You guys clearly can see that we need some expand. We love George and we love the shuttle, but we can't have that service on a daily basis. So that's what we're looking at as far as transforming, again, this center into an all-inclusive home for people with disabilities. And we feel that we can truly be the pride of our city, our county, and our state, and it all started with you. So thank you very much. Okay, for those that are able, you can use either the interior steps or we can go around